This transgender migrant just did the unthinkable, and it could put the trans community in the spotlight in the wrong way once again.
A 30-year-old transgender migrant named Nicole Suarez has been arrested in New York City for allegedly stalking and raping a 14-year-old boy in a park bathroom.
What's up, everybody? Ty Rivera here, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world. All right, so don't quote me on this, but I really think that this story has the potential to absolutely blow up, because this story is everything that the right is talking about kind of rolled up into one. It's got trans in bathrooms, it's got child R-word, it's got sanctuary states, and it's got immigration. And not to get too political about it, but stories like this will show you why the Dems will continue to lose and why the Trump administration and ICE will start getting more and more support. Because at a point, everybody in this country is going to have to ask themselves, how many more situations like this, how many more situations like Lake and Riley are going to happen before we actually start to take this seriously and before we stop harboring these people or teaching them how to evade deportation. The more that stories like this happen, the more that things like this happen, the more people are going to start to get like, maybe I'm beginning to see what the Trump administration is going for right now. And just to address this really quick before I go into the story, when it comes to this being a trans issue, do I think that this is a trans issue? I personally do not think this is a trans issue. But do I think that that's the way that the media is going to spin it if they decide to really pick up this story? Yes, I do. Do I think that it feeds a particular narrative that is causing a lot of people to have some panic and hysteria when it comes to what the threat is from the trans community? I 100% do. Do I think that this is going to help keep trans people out of particular bathrooms? 100%. So while everybody's still trying to play their respective victim cards as far as immigrant, as far as trans, as far as everything to do with this story, I think those cards are quickly losing any power they once had. But not only did I want to talk about the story because it does hit so many points that people on the right have been talking about, but one of the main reasons I wanted to bring this up is because it really does show you how ridiculous these people are being about trying to make it so these people can not only stay in the country, but also so that they get back on the streets as soon as possible once they've done things like this. And just so you know, this story comes from the New York Post. I have an Instagram follower that I'm friends with. TJ, thank you so much for sending this to me. So let's get into the story, and you guys can let me know how you feel down below in the comments. The headline is, trans migrant charged with R-wording 14-year-old boy in NYC bathroom. A migrant transgender woman wanted by federal immigration officials allegedly stalked and R-worded a boy in Manhattan this week, the Post has learned. Nicole Suarez allegedly followed the 14-year-old into a bathroom of a bodega across the street from Thomas Jefferson Park in East Harlem Tuesday and attacked him, police and sources said. The child then left the bathroom and flagged down a witness who alerted police, the sources said. And then it shows a picture of Nicole Suarez, and this person legit looks like the kind of person that would do this. I mean, they've got a Tijuana nose job, and just really, I don't know what they're thinking or what's going on. Then they've got a picture of this person in the store, this Nicole Suarez. Yeah, this isn't. Suarez, 30, who is originally from Colombia, was arrested nearby the following day and charged with first-degree R-word. And here's the thing, you guys. This is where I think it does come into play that certain people and certain groups just may not fit in with what we're trying to do here in this country, is that I think that if you were to talk to this person and ask them what they thought they were doing, this Nicole Suarez, I think that what they thought they were doing was cruising and hooking up. That's what I would imagine this person thought they were doing in their head, because I've dated a couple of guys that were from Mexico, and what they were telling me is that when they were younger, it was normal for them to date people that were much older than them, if you know what I'm saying, because they don't have the same consent we do. So I went ahead and looked into Colombia specifically, and in Colombia, the Criminal Code of Colombia Act Act 599 of 2000, as modified by Article 4 of Law 1236 of 2008, sets the age of consent at 14, regardless of gender or orientation. And I know I probably ended up on a watch list because I was checking the age of consent in Colombia, but I really did want to check that out because sometimes we do have to take that into account when we're considering who should and shouldn't be allowed to come into our country. Because in this person's mind, they might have just been cruising because they come from a place where 14 is legal. So they saw the person, they're like, fair game to me. And that's something that we do need to consider. Like when it comes to the way that they treat women in certain countries, that's something that we need to take into account when we're allowing people to come here. Because in the United States, women have the same rights as men. So when you're coming from another country where you think that women have no free will and that you can basically fully control them, that may not jive with the way that we want to live here in the United States. Like that always used to get me when I was living in LA. You would have the hardcore feminist types that would really be supportive of illegal immigration or immigration in general. And then they'd complain about catcalls when they'd come to areas like the area that I lived in. And it's like, okay, well, the neighborhood that I lived in at that time was an El Salvadorian neighborhood. And in El Salvador, they don't have the same lines as far as the way that they deal with women. So while you're getting offended about this, it's actually what you're inviting into the country. It's actually what they bring along with them as far as their traditions go and the way that they look at interactions between male and female. Also, when I say that, I'm not saying that these women are in any way asking for it, but I am saying that you are inviting these attitudes into the country when you're encouraging this, and maybe we should be able to look into what it is we're inviting in with a little more of a discerning eye. What do people from your country think about, or how do attitudes in your home country line up with American values? So I think that we're going to start to notice more and more where a lot of liberals will try to make it sound like everybody's just being xenophobic and doesn't want to be welcoming of migrants. I think what people will find out is that we're right in saying that certain people from certain countries just aren't really going to mesh with the United States way of living and with laws in the United States. And I don't think there's anything racist or xenophobic about just saying that and about giving that some thought too when we're considering who we're going to allow to immigrate to this country. Before we go any further, I'm just going to ask that you like, comment, and subscribe. We're on our way to 100,000 subscribers. We're already almost at 71,000, so thank you guys so much. When you hit the subscribe button, make sure you hit the bell so that you select all notifications, and then you know every time I upload. Now, let's get on with it. Suarez was wanted in New Jersey and Massachusetts at the time, and U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement had a detainer on her, a law enforcement source said. The nature of the out-of-state charges wasn't immediately available. An ICE detainer is a request to law enforcement agencies to hold an individual so they can be taken into federal custody. The case shows why the city should end its sanctuary city status for dangerous criminals, a source said. So she was wanted in New Jersey. She's wanted in Massachusetts, which the thing that you have to know about both of those states is both of those states are sanctuary states as well. So even if this person had been arrested in those states, they still wouldn't turn her over to ICE. It makes no sense at all. And yeah, when it comes to New York, they do need to end their sanctuary city status, which I know that Eric Adams is going to be helpful, and I don't think that New York is going to be running as a sanctuary city for much longer. We'll see what ends up happening. But I know that Mayor Adams has said that he is going to be cooperative with Tom Homan and ICE, and of course the Trump administration in general. So it just goes to show that Donald Trump and border czar Tom Homan are correct that you need to get the violent people out of New York City, and Eric Adams, Letitia James, and Kathy Hochul should all cooperate because this person has an ICE detainer, the source said. ICE could just pick this person up and deport them back, the source said, but due to our sanctuary laws, we can't do anything. So on this one, I guess it'll be interesting to see exactly how this plays out, and I think that people should get online and make as much noise about this as possible because, like I said, this is kind of one of the ones that you can say like, hey, why aren't we allowing ICE to take this person? And Tom Homan has just been doing interviews about how this is just the easiest and safest way to do it. This person is being held at Rikers, I believe. So if ICE were just able to go to Rikers and pick this person up up without any headache, without any problems, then they wouldn't have to go into a neighborhood after this person gets released and possibly end up deporting other illegals that they just end up stumbling onto while they're trying to find this particular person. Prosecutors initially asked for $500,000 bail and $1.5 million bond for Suarez, the law enforcement source said, but Judge Elizabeth Shamas, who became a judge in January after she was elected on the Democratic ticket, lowered the amount to $100,000 bail or $250,000 bond, online court records show. Well, why would you do that? Why would you make it easier for this person to get back on the street? I don't understand what that judge is doing. I feel really bad for the child that has to go through this because his life will never be the same, the source said. We worry about the migrants, but what about the victim? This is a true victim. Suarez was being held on Rikers Island, online records showed Saturday. Quote, this should be deported, so we can't do that to any other innocent young boy, Lindsay Gonzalez said. That boy must be traumatized a lot for the rest of his life, Gonzalez, 24, said. I feel bad for him because I'm a mother. A nearby deli owner, not the store which the attack occurred, said children come from the park to his deli every day to get candy and snacks. He was visibly shaken when he heard what happened. Oh my God, that is disgusting, said Azid Haim, 59, owner of 2234 Eastside Deli. He destroyed that little boy's life, he said. All my body is shaking. I want to sit. I can't explain how I feel. I'm more than angry. So yeah, that's the story, and it's absolutely horrible. And like I said, I think it's something that we really need to think about on several fronts when it comes to situations specifically like this. Like, what exactly are we doing, and why would the judge lower the bail and the bond and make it easier for a person like this to end up back out on the streets in the first place? Because the least you could do, if you're going to be the kind of city or the kind of state that's not going to allow ICE to outright deport these people, is to make sure that they at least are kept from the general public. Why would that not be at a minimum how we end up handling this situation? Why would we want to put the general public at risk from a person like this any further is what I don't understand. I really don't think that this is all going to play out the way that the Democrats or the left is hoping for it to play out. And I really do think that situations just like this are where things are really going to backfire. And you guys can let me know what you think down below in the comments, but I personally just do not see this ending well for people like AOC and the real bleeding hearts that don't want to look at this in any kind of objective or pragmatic way. It's just got to be 100% heart. They're coming here to make better lives for them. Is this making a better life for themselves? Is this what we're talking about when we say that they're making better lives for themselves? Is doing things like this to children? Is that what we're saying? Because I personally don't think it should be, but maybe people like AOC know something I don't. Maybe there's a reason that this person needs to be in the United States after doing that to a child. So that's where I'm at on it. But like I said, let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. If you want to see me talk about the 2 nurses in Australia that messed around and found out, click the link on your screen. Other than that, as always, thank you for watching. This has been Ty Rivera, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world.
They bought into his bullshit.